Now for something completely different. The focus here is on the geological endowment of battery and strategic metals in Western Australia, and I'm not going to go through all of them. You've certainly seen the wide number that there are. The ones I'm going to concentrate on are those listed there, and down the bottom I'm certainly not going to do vanadium. There is a talk on the GRAPHITE deposit later on today. I'm not going to talk on cesium. There is a talk on Western Australia's only cesium deposit and mine to be this afternoon as well, and nothing on scandium. About half the talk is on lithium and graphite, and then sort of briefly go through the rest. It's the lithium boom at the moment. I mean, I've been in the industry long enough to see many commodity cycles come and go, and I'm not sure I'll be around long enough to see this one go, but go it surely will. There's never been any commodity that hasn't tended to go in cycles, some form of a cycle at least. And why are lithium projects booming? The next slide will actually have some price information, but it's very much that the lithium resources have been there in Western Australia for a long time, but it's perceived to be partly the rainfall events in South America, and with the sharp increase in prices, then the Western Australian mining industry actually can respond. We've had the resources here. They're relatively low capital costs to establish, relatively high operating costs relative to the brines, but that speed at which you can get mines into production is very much the key at the moment. And the top chart is the lithium carbonate price, normally clear in board freight. The stretch on the price chart is actually about the same as the histogram of the Western Australian resources. So the price chart starts in about mid-2012, finishes in mid-2017, and you'll see the very marked increase in 2015. You've also seen how explorers have been prepared to drill in recent years on deposits. Most of the deposits have been known for a very long time, and so and they've been fairly quick to make additional discoveries. Well, that's in terms of discoveries, in terms of increasing the resources quickly. Finding new deposits is actually proving harder. And in terms of the lithium project specifically with resource estimates, then there's, and you can see we've got a suite of them there, but very much green bushes stand out, and the following slide will actually be a grade tonnage curve. But green bushes is very much the granddaddy of them all, and it stands out in terms of grade and also the contained lithium content. But we've actually have 4 projects that are at the mining stage and 4 projects that are currently being developed. And that's typically when I'm showing resources here, it's the global resource estimate for the project. And the interesting thing here is that most of the lithium deposits are around 1% to 1.4% average grade when you sort of have large enough tonnages. The larger ones there, like the Pilgangoora for Pilbara Minerals and Wodgina, it's more like about 1.1, 1.2% seems to be the average grade for most deposits once you get fairly large tonnages. Green bushes, by every stretch of the imagination, is exceptional. And the other thing is that if you add the 2 Pilgangoora projects together, which is just the sort of artificial ownership breakdown, then you've got a mining camp there with over 200 million tonnes of resources at Pilgangoora. So they're certainly very large projects on a world standard. Whoops, that was interesting. That was the next slide, very briefly. Oh, yep, okay, thank you. All Western Australia's lithium is currently exported. Most of it goes out as a concentrate at about 6% lithium oxide. There was a minor amount of direct shipping ore from Wodgina was exported last year as well. There's 860,000 tonnes of concentrate. It's not measuring contained lithium in this case. was exported last year. The companies are always a little bit sensitive about the production per project, so we're not allowed to show that. And you've also got a suite of advanced projects that people are trying to bring online as fast as they possibly can. The only local, there's lots of processing options being considered. Lithium hydroxide plant is under construction at not at Greenbushes, at Kwinana. Talison Lithium owns the Greenbushes deposit. 51% of that is owned by AIG of China. Although the output is currently in the vicinity of 400,000 tonnes per annum of spodumene concentrate, they are planning to double the production rate. TNG, for its portion of the output of Greenbushes, is building a lithium hydroxide plant at Kwinana. And they're already basically committed to phase 2 of that production plant already. There's been no public announcement of what Albemarle is going to do with its increased share of the mine output from Greenbushes, but it is looking at its options of whether it continues to export the spodumene concentrate, or whether it treats it locally in another, possibly another lithium hydroxide plant. So there's been speculation that sites like either another site at Kwinana or even the Kemerton industrial estate is the most likely options. For graphite, there's the boom in graphite in Western Australia. It sort of feels like it was a couple of years ago, and we have over 100 recorded occurrences. The main ones are certainly the Macintosh up on the East Kimberley, Yalborough and the Gascoyne, and the ones down south, down around Ravensthorpe and Esperance and Munglanup. There's certainly many more graphite deposits. I'm fairly confident that many more graphite deposits will be found over the next 5 years, and some of them are being found incidentally by people looking for other commodities. So if they're looking in the Albany Fraser, for instance, doing EM surveys and trying to find nickel, then it's quite likely that they're going to find some graphite horizons as well. So I think that a considerable amount of graphite will be found in the next 10 years. That's more for the record. There's only 4 projects where there are resource estimates for them. They're the 4 marked in red, and the table just shows the ownership of the various projects. It's not so much the quantities. I mean, we've certainly produced some graphite historically, about 200 tonnes. The main thing here just comes down to cost of mining. They're not huge deposits, and also the physical properties of the graphite involved. Certainly the Macintosh project, there's the talk this afternoon, and the Alba project are the 2 that are most advanced. For a grade tonnage curve, I'm looking forward to the day when there's a lot more deposits that can be plotted on this particular graph. But I don't specifically talk about the physical properties, but that's very much the key. One project, and this is from an announcement Monday last week, and it's at Springdale, and it's the exploration by Comet Resources. They're actually exploring on a project, or they released results last week. They've done some recent diamond drilling and air core drilling. The drilling is partially funded by the exploration incentive scheme, and they've actually intersected a zone there of 11 metres at 25% total graphitic carbon, which is an exceptional grade, and I think I forgot to mention it on the previous slide, but it was very much along the top axis of the slide. And they're currently doing some bench scale testing, and they've got photographs in there. A stock exchange release of their bench scale testing is a beaker about so big, and where they've actually suspended the solid graphite core in a conductive solution, and the electricity and the flow of electrons is dispersing the graphite, and they claim in the stock exchange release that they're actually producing graphene in the beaker, sort of small quantities. So that's certainly an interesting project to watch, and is likely to have legs on it in the next couple of years. This is for I think only 3 of the projects report their resources in terms of total graphitic carbon, and it just shows this is really the reflection upon the work being done at the Macintosh and the Alpra projects. None of the projects have measured resources. For cobalt then, so one of the interesting things is, I tend to think, well, we don't have a cobalt mine. Yes, that's true, but we certainly produce a lot of cobalt. Produced over 5,000 tonnes of cobalt last year. It's produced as a byproduct of the nickel mines, whether they're lateritic or sulfidic nickel. And we've actually, I think I've got a following slide here with the resources through time, but there's over 1.3 million tonnes of cobalt contained within deposits. This actually shows the trend of cobalt resources through time. For the measured, indicated and inferred resources, normally that amount within reserves is a sort of a subset of these numbers. So I'm not showing the reserves on this particular chart. It shows a decline in cobalt resources last year or recently. It's probably not real. I mean, just the way the database goes, that if companies are reporting the nickel resource but don't quote the cobalt as they might have done in a previous year, then we just put it in the database. The database spits out the numbers, and it looks like the cobalt resource is going down. But it's probably more realistically, the amount of cobalt within known nickel deposits is about 1.4 million tonnes currently. For nickel, it's a very similar story. We have about, obviously, and you're all familiar with Western Australia's nickel endowment. We actually only have 8 mines operating at the moment, slightly down because of the recent fall in nickel prices the last couple of years, and the most recent mine closure being the Ravensthorpe lateritic nickel deposit by First Quantum. That was one of the welcome to government things that happened to the new Labor government very soon after they moved into power. They were very strong on jobs, and then suddenly there were less jobs, about 500 less in the industry. And there's 25 mines under care and maintenance. BHP, an entity that tried to offload Nickel West in recent years. It offloaded a lot of their second string assets into South 32, and were trying to sell Nickel West separately. They were unsuccessful in doing that, so they hung onto it. That was tremendous foresight, shall I say, because they're now, with the nickel battery boom, they've decided to build a nickel sulfate plant at Kwinana, and I think it may not be in the public domain, but I think the payback period for that is said to be fairly short, like about 1 to 2 years, and they've already announced that they're going to expand that plant. This actually shows Western Australia's nickel resources through time, and reading the numbers, it's fairly constant because of the large lateritic nickel projects that dominate these numbers. Then it's been fairly consistent for some time at about 34, 35 million tonnes of contained nickel. The actual reserves that are quoted separately and additional to this are the shown in black. You will struggle to see those on that graph. They're not much more than a very thin black line sitting on the top of the resources. These are extracting the reserve separately and replotting the information, then showing the proven and probable reserves of nickel. Then they're in the vicinity of 5 to 6 million tonnes plus or minus. For rare earths, then that's another one where the commodity cycles are quite short. Certainly, Linus found out the problem of producing dominantly lanthanum and cerium at a time when the prices tanked. That is still a very substantial resource by any measure. Browns Range is a deposit which has now reached the pilot plant stage and is a project that the Geological Survey has recognised the potential of for some years. And we've been doing some research, and they've certainly dated the mineralisation. And one of the things is that a lot of the mineralisation in the East Kimberley, although they're in different age host rocks, the mineralisation is proving to be of approximately the same age, which was quite a surprise to the survey. And Yangibana with Hastings Technology Metals is a project that's had tremendous exploration success. It's very much, they've taken the old Gifford Creek occurrence that's been known for many, many decades, and they're actually prepared to drill, and they've had tremendous success. And their most recent announcements of last month is they're actually showing some zones that are very much enriched in neodymium and praseodymium. For rare earth estimates at projects in Western Australia, there's actually not that many. The interesting thing with Yangibana is that they're getting, for neodymium and praseodymium combined, then they're getting grades of 0.35 to 0.45% in several of the lodes. And I've got some numbers up there for Browns Range. It's a 3-year pilot plant that is under construction. They're hoping to mine at the rate, this is the pilot plant testing, at about 60,000 tonnes per year to produce about 590,000 kilos of total rare earth oxides, of which about 49,000 kilos will be dysprosium. And they have a very high ratio of heavy rare earths to total rare earths. It's 87% across the total resource. For manganese, Western Australia has produced metallurgical grade manganese for many years. But most of the mines, or all of the mines, closed by early last year. Consolidated Minerals closed then. Consolidated Minerals was Ukrainian owned. Recently it's the ownership of the country changed to Chinese entities, and of the company changed to Chinese entities, and they have resumed mining. And the other project, the only other project where there's exploration success at the moment of significant note is the Montezuma's project just south of Newman. They've now got some of their JORC resource up to JORC indicated status, and they're currently doing a scoping study. And I've got for Montezuma within the last couple of weeks I've announced a new enlarged resource estimate. They make claim to having the largest manganese resources in Australia. They're up to 180 million tonnes. The grade is 10%, and you can see there it's still only 1/3 the grade of Woody Woody, and 1/3 the tonnes, and 1/9 the 1/10 that contain manganese. But it's still likely to, it still stands a reasonable chance of being Western Australia's next manganese mine. I mean, there is substantial manganese in some of the iron ore projects, but the grades are very low. I mean, it's only being produced or getting some credit as a byproduct. For tungsten, the largest deposit is O'Callaghan's. It's been known for many, many years, but it's under about 200 metres of cover. So it's actually in a mixture of scheelite and wolframite. The metallurgy and the cost of mining must be such that Newcrest doesn't show much interest in mining that, and hasn't for the last 5 to 10 years. The mine that is under development is the one at Mount Mulgine. Tungsten mining, moving equipment. They bought some of the old mining equipment from the Wodgina mine site. They're relocating that on site at the moment. And they're scheduled to produce the first scheelite in early 2018. You can see here the very large size of O'Callaghan's and also the highest grade. People were interested in Cook's Creek a couple of years ago, but that's gone very quiet. And Western Australia has already has resources containing 429,000 tonnes of tungsten oxide. It's very much the people who tungsten is also like some of the other commodities. Where the deposits are recognised, the investment tends to be from overseas entities, and then as soon as there's that element of, as soon as overseas interests have got the investment, then they're rating whether everything ranks to other deposits that it owns elsewhere around the world. So no longer do you tend to have the industry where you've got Australian companies who are prepared to just keep working at them and just make them into a mine, whether they're profitable or not. You've got owners who've got a very different strategic view of things nowadays. So it also means that some of the mine developments don't happen when you go through that commodity cycle, because if their owners have got a better project overseas, well, that's the one that's being worked. I have a very short summary. You've just about heard it. Western Australia is strategically placed. Its geological endowment is the envy of many other people around the world, and as the lithium sector shows, we've certainly got the ability to respond when the price is favourable. If you need any more information on any of these, then by all means contact me or visit the website. We put out a suite of commodity flyers. One or two of them are here today. We've got a new battery metals map that we've released recently, and we have some specialist GSWA publications. So we've certainly got one on graphite that was produced in 2015, and we've got one in tantalite produced a few years before that. Thanks very much.